My name is Daniel Colby. I'm on my pastoral year right now, and the way I came to discern this calling to the priesthood, well, I grew up a Presbyterian down in North Carolina. Our whole family was part of the Presbyterian church, but I left faith during high school and college because I had a lot of questions about the faith and other stuff that I didn't want to really follow or believe in. So through a period of agnosticism in high school and college, I moved to Columbus back in 2014 for my job, and I had some evangelical neighbors there who helped answer a lot of my questions about God and about faith and about who Jesus was and is. And they did a really good job of bringing me to the point where I could say yes to God again and say yes to wanting God the Father back in my life. And after I had my reversion experience and came back to Christ, I was part of their evangelical church for a little while, but just a few months after that, my dad, who was the rock of our faith and our family, and our model for faith, he told me that he was leaving the Presbyterian church that we grew up in, where he and Mom met and got married in, to become Catholic, because he had been reading a lot from different Catholic authors about the church and about the faith and felt really convicted that this was the way to go. So at that point, I didn't really know what all these different denominations were about. My first research into Catholicism was looking up Roman Catholicism on Wikipedia, because where else am I going to start? And reading there that it claims to be the church that Christ founded, descended from the 12 apostles. That was a pretty strong starting point to figure out where I needed to go. And I remember on New Year's Day 2015, which would have been the Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God, I woke up with this strange feeling that I needed to go to Mass, even though I'd never been inside a Catholic church, let alone to any worship service there, and went around the corner to a church nearby me that was having a service. And it was a very strange, alien experience for somebody going from being part of an evangelical praise band to going into a very ornate old Catholic church early in the morning. But when the priest held up the host and said the words of consecration and confected the Eucharist, I felt this surge of presence and power, and my head unconsciously turned away, and that from looking at the host. And that really lit a fire under me to figure out, what is this all about? What does the church teach? Why did this just happen? So I spent a couple of months looking at Catholic teaching versus evangelical Protestant teaching, looking at the history of the church and praying a lot more about all this. And I eventually felt convicted that the Catholic Church is the church founded by Christ that continues with the fullness of His truth and His presence in our world this day. So at that point, I had pretty much had to say, okay, God, you're asking me to become Catholic. So I started RCIA classes at Immaculate Conception Parish in Columbus, my home parish. And it was during that, when I first read about the priesthood, when I felt this very clear calling from God, saying, Daniel, I want you to pursue the path to the priesthood. And I had already, during my reversion experience the last year, promised to give my life completely over to Him. So I kind of had to say, okay, I guess you're calling that chip in. So I said, okay, I'm going to pursue the path to the priesthood. And they told me, well, first you have to become Catholic. So I continued going through RCIA. I came into the church Easter 2016, and I spent a year at the parish just getting used to parish life and what it is to be a Catholic throughout the year. And at the start of 2017, I still felt called to become a priest. I met with my vocation director. I applied to seminary and was accepted to start at the Josephinum in the fall of 2017. At this point, I've gone through 2 years of undergraduate in philosophy and Latin, and 2 years of my 4-year theology program. And at this point, I'm on my pastoral year here at St. Mary's Parish in Marion, Ohio, and also in charge of Sacred Hearts Parish in Cardington, Ohio. And I'm continuing to discern the call and grow in my appreciation for the priesthood and the vocation God's calling me to commit my life to.